So NIO has achieved undeniable success here in China. Take a look at this list. All right, NIO's number 1, number 2. This list is the overall sales of EVs here in China above 300,000 RMB. All right, all EVs. And clearly you can tell NIO is number 1. All right, NIO is the best-selling vehicle. You have stuff like the Avatar 1, 2, which comes a little bit close, and then you have Xpeng X9, you have the BMW i5 in the mix, you have the Li Auto Mega way down there, but clearly when it comes to high-end luxury EVs, nobody sells more than NIO. All right, nobody sells more than NIO, period. NIO has undeniable success in the luxury EV segment. They are number 1. Having that said, what did it cost them? All right. Well, here's some crazy, mind-blowing information. All right. And this is, of course, all public information. Losses. For Tesla, all right, in 6 years, the first 6 years of reporting annual reports, they lost 1.228 billion US dollars. All right. In 11 years, Tesla lost 6.969 billion US dollars before turning a profit. So afterwards, on the 12th year, they started turning a profit. Okay? NIO, so far, in the 6 years of reporting their earnings report, they've lost 12.64 billion US dollars. All right? Almost double of what Tesla lost in 11 years. And keep in mind that if you add in Q1 of this year, of 2024, which was another 700 million loss, we are over 13 billion US dollars in losses, in cumulative losses. Quite a lot, quite substantial. But why? Why is this the case? And are we going to see an end to this? Because of course, the ultimate goal is profitability, right? Right? Is it? Huh. So first of all, why is NIO racking up so many losses? NIO, of course, started much later than Tesla. And one thing that NIO CEO said was that Tesla had a lot of time to do a lot of things. But with NIO, because they started much later, they don't have the first mover's advantage. They got to use more money to sort of recuperate the lost time. All right. So the amount of research that Tesla does in a year, NIO has to do 3 years worth of research in 1 year, basically. So to speed up R&D, that kind of stuff, that requires a whole lot of money to be thrown into R&D. And indeed, NIO's spending so much on R&D, infrastructure deployment, swap station, all that stuff, building their own chips, building phones, building the whole ecosystem, and deploying stores, all that kind of stuff takes up a lot of resources for them to become where they are right now. When is NIO going to achieve profitability? All right, it is a very interesting question. Well, NIO CEO has said in the past that profitability isn't actually their first number 1 goal. Right? He said having a healthy margin is very important, but what they're trying to do extends beyond that. All right, and they're trying to build a whole entire ecosystem, something that nobody's ever seen before, and they're trying to just basically get the company to become a massive behemoth. And doing that requires a lot of money. Right? For example, building chips, all self-developed. Nobody else here in China has done it. I think we're pretty much on the cusp of profitability. Give NIO 2 more years. All right, just 2 more years, nothing more. The reasoning is, well, first of all, with the whole NIO China thing, right? When NIO China, the Hefei government bailed out NIO and formed a new company, NIO China. NIO Inc. owned like 90% of it, and then they had a target that they had to fulfill, which was to be profitable by the end of 2025, or else they're gonna have to basically repay back a bunch of money and that kind of stuff. But ever since then, NIO has paid back and bought back ownership of NIO China. So NIO Inc. now owns more of NIO China, and basically the Hefei government has cashed out. So that no longer really applies. Okay, so we were hoping for a NIO China listing sometime this year or next year, which was very, very likely, but we'll have to see if that even still goes through, if they still go through with it. So that's something to keep in mind. But right now, they're spending a lot of money on new factories, incentives, R&D, and of course the NT 3.0 cars. But once the NT 3.0 cars come out, all right, they're using their own chips, so that's going to really help out with margins. They're going to use their own software. That's also going to really help out with margins. So overall margins are going to look much better with NT 3.0 cars. And then also, don't forget they're building factories for Onvo and also a factory for Firefly. So that also requires a lot of money. So we might see big cash depletion over the following few quarters of this year. Throughout this year, we might see big cash depletion. Cash depleted by $2 billion. All right, $2 billion US dollars from the end of 2023 to March 31st of 2024. All right, $2 billion cash decreased. So probably went into building factories and that kind of stuff. So they are spending a whole lot of money in R&D and stuff. But once all this gets done, all right, it's sort of like how building a gigafactory for Tesla requires a lot of money. Once these factories are all done, up and running, the stores are all up and running, the cars are being sold and delivered, that's when you're going to see them finally reap the profits of success. It's sort of like planting a tree, planting an apple tree. It requires a lot of money to plant an apple tree. You got to water it, you got to wait, you got to be patient. And then after a while, you start bearing fruit, the apples, then you can, pick the apples and start selling them. So it takes a while for everything to come to fruition. And I guess if I'm using that metaphor, then I guess we would be in the process of where the tree is growing, it's almost mature and about to produce fruit. All right, so we still need some more time. Give NIO some more time for them to be profitable. I think in 2 years' time they're going to be profitable. Definitely, maybe even next year once they launch the Firefly sub-brand, Onvo cars being delivered, and then Firefly being delivered, and then NIO also with NT 3.0 cars all being delivered. Of course, R&D spend for everything is intense, but once all those cars start being delivered and we're seeing good reception of those cars, then we might see some inkling of profitability happen. And I think that might finally end this streak of losses. Right, NIO has lost quite a lot of money. All right, as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.